fame and fortune.
So you can see how that
The
is.
life of a sea captain is one of duty and relentless.
Yeah.
Fame and
It's
fortune.
a Bennett wannabe.
There's a little bit of that, but I think what it's trying to sales pitch is this right here. The open environment, like a beautiful port.
Heck yeah.
That, I think, is something that's universal for people. Like, you know, they see this. And the people that, like, want to just hang out on the port, they can do something. The people that want to go and be a sea captain and explore the vast edges of things.
Yeah.
And the people that want to explore other people's cargo holds, they got something to do. They got something to do as well. So, I mean, that's kind of where we're at with it, right? That's the dream. Now, the question is, what type of game will it be? You know,
Trade and profit.
right. Now, we're talking about the 1780s here. So, the United States is very young. It's still got a lot to prove. There's developed kids on the block. You got like the English, the French, the Spanish. You know, you have a lot of players, right? And that's not even talking about the other smaller players too. And the one big thing to remember is, I think that piracy is past its golden age. So there's only a couple ports left. And,
yeah, it was like 1740s,
look at these,
1600s to 1700s. I think was their
closed
prime.
captions just butchering this name. Ahoy is fit person. They got that right. But golden age of sail, SAALE.
Scratching my backpack. Man, sometimes the AI captions do really well. Other times it's like, maybe you should do another pass there.
It got in Ahoy. So the whole point of a lot of these things is that you have to pick a country. And there's many different countries in Ahoy. And first of all, I think we should...
Well, you got to go with the French.
Really? You see yourself fighting for the French?
I don't know, actually. Though, I think if I was to really choose one, I'd probably go with the Spanish.
The Spanish are very wealthy. And they probably have bigger ships than others, but they have a lot of area to maintain, a lot of places to defend, and they have those convoys. Don't forget.
Yeah, they had like the big giant treasure galleons, but then the French had speedy ships. Their ships were fast.
Yes, the English also had a few too. Actually, the English had literally a ship named the Speedy. Lord Cochrane's first ship. He had it for years and years, and he just ran around terrorizing the French. And the French got their licks in, of course, as well, against the English. Interestingly, this crew that's making this game, they want to do a second game already, and they've been talking about doing Trafalgar, which is the battles that were in the 1800s, which would be like... I just
watched a documentary on that.
Well, they want to do it, which would be wild. I mean, that's like the big Europeans come out to play with their true man-of-war ships and stuff.
Yeah.
That era.
China pirates.
So they have independent states, they call it. Okay. So the pirates are kind of all lumped together into independent states. They can all fly under, they all come under the same ports. They can't go to ports. I mean, they can go to ports and fight with people there. But these are the pirate ports here.
I think maybe using the word pirate was a misnomer.
Right.
Like, because there were like Persian sailors and stuff, but that would be a really long way to go. Not saying that they couldn't.
Look at the list. So this is the map. This is the world map right here.
Okay.
And the black flags, very apt. The black background flags, anyway. That's the pirates. The pirate ports.
Neat.
So, if I remember right...
Dutch. That was the fourth one I was thinking of.
There's Georgetown. Here's one I've never heard of. I'm not even going to pretend I know what it is. There's some place out bad in the back end of Cuba. On French Island of the National Park of the French, I guess.
Zoom in on that again.
Punta Francis. See?
Parco Nacional Moreno de Punta Francis. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like, National Park of the French.
And then over here is New Girona. That's a port here. They've overlaid it with a modern map, which is very, very strange.
Most of my like Caribbean island knowledge comes from Sid Meier's Pirates.
Yeah, that was a great
game.
So here's a pirate port of Beef Island next to an air charter airport. in the BVIs. So this is the British Virgin Islands and then the US Virgin Islands. Do they get a pirate port as well? No. So the British tolerated a pirate port in the middle of their Virgin Islands. I don't know what they were back then. Interestingly, I have family that got married on St. John by Red Hook. Over here somewhere.
Ooh.
Oh, look, I found a privateer point. That should have had a base.
Oh. Yeah. That was right next to Red Hook.
Wrong island. So I take that back. I was on the wrong island. So this is the island I was on. There's Red Hook.
Oh, what's the other thing that was right next to it?
Yeah. I had a family who got married right here. And we drank drinks in the pool here. There's a swim up bar. And we didn't drink a lot of alcohol or anything because it was very hot during the day and you spend a lot of time in the pool. But there was a pair of trees, and you can believe me if you want, but I swear to you, an iguana fell out of the tree, and then we were worried. We went to go save the iguana, and he just swam calmly away, and he crawled out over here.
I wouldn't think of an iguana to be one that could swim, but they are a tropical creature. I think they would like kind of have to.
The giant lizard swam. He fell in the water, and we went to go save him, and he's like, "No, I got this." And by the time I got over to him, he already swam out. And then,
as you were like hovering over the pool, and you were like, "Yeah, we had drinks." I was like, "Oh, did you drink pool water?" That was my first thought.
No, there was a bar here that was unattended. This whole thing's a bar right here. And then there's also, oh no, this thing here. These are like swim up seats right here. So, hang on.
That is a big bar.
Right? Yep, there's the point. So, me and relative, we were swimming out here, and the water got intense as soon as you leave past these rocks. And we went to go just climb onto the rocks, and then we realized that's not an option because we had fins that were like cheapies we bought at Walmart, and the fins were open on the back, and the whole bottom of the water underneath those rocks was covered in black sea urchins with the spikes.
Oh, dang.
So we had to swim all the way back past all these rocks exhausted to get back. There's the pool.
Oh, that would have been such a fun time.
You see those those are swim up benches right there? There,
oh,
there,
yeah, you can just barely see them.
There. Yeah, you used to put up a bucket here. Oh, it must have been this tree here. This is the tree he fell in. The iguana fell off this tree. Unless they chopped this tree down, or it's an old picture. And over there is like another bar.
Aw.
That's a beautiful place, though. So anyway, there's the pirates.
Waving at us.
Yeah, what are we doing? So this is the pirates over here. There we go. So in this beautiful tropical highlands full of airports, there is a pirate base at Beef Island, just so we're clear.
Awesome.
And then the British have 2 ports between the pirate ports, but for some reason they haven't just destroyed this one little pirate port. Sorry, 3 British ports. Anyway.
Must have been a pretty well kept secret.
Right? So do you see these all other ports right here? There's free ports as well. And then see the names? Remember you were asking about other countries?
Oh, yeah.
So that's a Denmark port there. That's a wild port. Just Van Dyke. I don't know.
Wild port would be like just anybody, I would assume. Like no nationality.
That sounds like a fun place, but like I would want to keep like 2/3 of the crew on board the ship so no one steals it. Like I'd be always nervous. I'd be like, oh no, this place sucks.
Yeah.
Nobody can get off the ship.
Maybe it's like have you ever played Uncharted?
Yeah.
All right, have you played I think it's the 4th one, the like pirate one?
Mm-hmm.
Libertalia.
Yes. I hope it's like that too. Okay, here's
That would be
another.
pretty cool. I mean, it wouldn't be cool if it ended like Libertalia, but I like the idea of Libertalia.
I think everybody does. Like they want that experience, but then when the consequences of like, hey, somebody punched me in the face and took my coconuts, like you're gonna be very upset,
Yeah. Well, the lore for the game, like Libertalia still had police and stuff. It was just Captain Avery ended up just being a dick and took everybody's gold for himself at the end.
So we can't have nice things. Speaking of Port of Spain, so if you're in the Spanish galleons, this is where you'd be operating out of. It looks like a lot of it. Modern day Caracas, and all the way over here, Trinidad and Tobago, right here. Ooh. So all this space. And then to the east, you got modern day Colombia, all the way through to Panama. This map. Oh, and by the way, I haven't even gotten to America and Mexico. They have like the Yucatan Peninsula just chilling over here. So I'm seeing a problem already. This is a huge map. This reminds me a lot of like when Star Citizen was first being sales pitched with like 100 systems. You know what I mean?
I can see where you're going with that. Yeah.
So I do know that they're doing this in stages. Like I think Jamaica is one of the first places they're focusing heavily on, and I'm betting the Bahamas as well. I think that this is the real map right here. I think this tiny little bit of space. And because it's 1780, the problem is you don't have US control of Florida yet. So let's be real. The reason 1780 is such a good time is because America's a country combined with the European powers are all vying for space still, and you still have some piracy, right? Like that's the melting pot you're going for. The reason you wouldn't do it just 10 years to 20 years earlier is because of no United States. That's a lot of market share if you're making a new video game. It's also a different time period. You'd be more focused on the piracy. There would be less built up ports, less European not less European influence, but less built up European influence. And you surely would not have a whole US as well.
Yeah, like choosing the time period that they did choose, it kind of like it puts an emphasis on they're trying to go for more of a feel of trade and profit aside from, and like piracy is a secondary thing. Like they don't want the game to be just full of only pirates. They want it to be like a subset of the game, but not the main focus.
Yeah, and if you want to just pirate it up,
everybody's going to want to just do pirates.
There'll be arena matches for that too. I mean, if you just want to get fisticuffs constantly, you'll be able to. But if you look here, The Spanish influence is very, very obvious all the way up here in this part of the map, but this is the most famous parts of the map right here, for a lot of people anyway. And then all the way up here is the America ports. I mean, you know, and another whole other thing is sometimes the ports are more impressive than others. Charleston was like, I think it was the richest city in the United States at the time. You're talking the 1780s. Savannah, that's a decent sized port itself. These aren't smaller ports. Like these other areas down here, a lot of these I guarantee are just a town, you know, a fortified town at most.
Yeah.
Versus these are cities.
I think one of the things that helps them in having something of this type of scope where, like, say it is like 100 little cities or towns or whatever, opposed to Star Citizen's approach, there may be blueprints of the towns from back then.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're not starting from total scratch.
Yeah, they don't have to invent a whole world. They're just repackaging the one little part you could see from the port side.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another big one for them to have to focus down. The French
New Orleans.
Orleans.
That'd be a fun one.
Yep.
That would be a good one.
I think that's going to be very popular with a lot of folks. There'll be like little loading screens for everybody trying to leave this lake right here.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
So many people are going to be over by this shoal thing running aground on Cat Island.
I'm trying to remember. There was one port I spent so much time on in Sid Meier's Pirate. It wasn't Port Royal, but it was like I think it was one of the ports on the island to the west of it. Port Katrine or something like that.
Well, I don't know about that, but right outside
yeah.
of New Orleans, you've got like this is the most gamer island of history. Cat Island with a smuggler's cove and a bachelor's cove.
Oh, heck yeah. I mean, just going off the name, I think it's fair for me to say that is my island. This cat claims Cat Island. That is my island. All y'all stay away.
Oh, goodness. It'll be like EVE Online. 1v1 me at the sun for rights to name the system. And it's like, you don't even get rights to the system. You just keep bragging rights for 5 minutes until everybody logs off and forgets it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is going to be really exciting. It's just a question of perspective, right? Like the first game is nowhere near this big. It's going to be Sea Trials in 2026. Is first quarter of 2026. It's going to be a lot smaller than this. They're going to have to create like arena, and then the arena areas are going to be added as well after that, later 2026.
Honestly, for me, like I would be happy if they just gave us Nassau and just a sea. That's really all I want to do. I just want to go sailing with my buddies.
I hear you.
That's really all I want to do. I want to go sailing. I want to like tug on some ropes, cook some meals, load a cannon or two, and like just sail and sing, doing stupid stuff with the boys.
I think that's going to be the Sea Trials for a lot of people. You can see that Q1 and then Arenas Q4 2026.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be enough for a lot of people, I think. It's just going to do a lot more.
So like Sea Trials, I can definitely understand, like just in the name, it's just open sea, but within a contained area. Like I don't expect there to be any land or anything. And you just try sailing the boat. For the next one,
open world, arena.
Is that going to have like any land to do land stuff?
This right here shows
sword fights or
so arena game
is it
modes
like only
here.
sea battles?
So arena game modes, what they currently plan. Sea Trials are peaceful. beat to quarters is 2 teams, multiple ships, and I'm assuming that's fighting, obviously. Namachia, every captain for themselves, and Dominion is capture and hold objectives, so battlefield style. And there is FPS
Okay, so the
gameplay.
Naumachia to me sounds like a battle royale.
Yes. So that's the arenas, and I think they showed it at one point. This right here. Do you see these little red lines?
Red lines.
Hang on, it'll get to it in a second. Right there. That to me is like that's a map. So those boxes, that means that they're planning out maps there.
That makes sense.
So Les Vernes, I think, was one of them that just said.
Now, do you think that that'll be like a thing that you pick on the game title screen? Like, I want to go to Isle de Santos, or do you sail into the PvP area?
I would like it that way, where you get you and your group of friends and you don't have to keep loading screening them to death. It's just you all go there and then it loads in, but it's all in like one load in. It's very hard to herd sheep. The minute you tell
that
them...
was actually, that was how it was done on Pirates of the Burning Sea. Every couple of hours, there'd be a new hot zone. So you'd constantly have to be checking the map. And it would show up as like a big red dot area. If you entered the area, you were marked for PvP. You
got to go into that dotted area with the bumblebee. You want to see the powerful bumblebee? It's coming up. Here it comes. There it is.
Dude,
proud little captain.
We would do that. We would purposely take, like, one of the things that my friends and I did, we didn't go for the big Spanish galleons. We went for the like sleek French ships. Not like this one, but I think like 2 over. We'll see it where they just start getting into 2 masts because they were so quick. It wouldn't have mattered because we would just sail through the PvP area, and because the way that the game worked was like they had to fire a shot at you and have it land for it to pull you into a match. But our boats were so freaking quick, we would just sail through the PvP area to get wherever we wanted.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it would be like one of these.
It's a nice little ship.
Is what we would have.
Yeah, nice little 8-gun schooner.
Yeah.
See, there are only 3-pounders on board. So that's kind of close to what I think Lord Cochrane complained about. His ship had 4-pound guns, and he talked about how he could carry an entire broadside in his pockets if he really wanted to. Basically, he was like mad about his ship, but he did really well with it because it was so small and quick. He would sail up to people pretending to be a merchant, and then they would try to take him, and then he would put up his colors at the last second, and then sail in circles around the big ship. And they couldn't hit him because he was so low down.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Oh, you know what? This might have been closer to what it was.
That right there, Speedy class 14-gun brig.
Yeah.
That's a Cochrane ship.
Yeah, I think that might have been closer to what we had in Pirates of the Burning Sea.
Based on the lines of the HM brig Speedy. So this was a modernized version of Speedy.
The big galleon, they're so slow. But they're also like big tanks. They take a long time to go down.
So Lord Cochrane, I'm probably butchering his name. I apologize, but
I've heard it Cochrane.
That fella, he had his crew on this type of ship sail up to the big Spanish galleon, and he basically trolled them. He pretended to be a merchant ship. They tricked them. And then he unloaded with grape shot across their entire crew, and he had snipers hidden in the tops of the masts, covered up. And they immediately let fly the flag, and they all he started killing all the crew and injuring them on the top. and then he would sail super close and just keep hitting them. And as they finally got some distance to be able to hit him, he would turn around. Every time they got far enough out to hit him, he would sail back closer. So they would clump up to be able to try to ram him again and then board him because they had so many more people. And then he would just unload on them with grape shot and sniper shot again every time they clumped up. He did that like 4 times until they surrendered. He took the ship.
It's like you were to. I understand it was like a valid tactic back then, but like you do that today, especially in a video game, like
It'd be
that's
like exploiting.
That's cheaty. Yeah.
He got caught once, and a French admiral almost got beheaded over it because Napoleon was upset when he found out he was released because they traded him for one French captain. He's like, you gave back their best weapon, and all we got for him was just some run of the mill captain who got himself caught. But luckily, that admiral won a small battle during that same week, so they didn't behead him. They let him keep his job.
Lucky for him.
Yeah, 3 frigates ran him down in his little Speedy.
3
frigates. Yeah.
And they really wanted him.
Yeah, well, he kept going on to coastlines and raiding places he wasn't supposed to be able to raid. He would wait until the currents would push them in these tiny little boats at night, and then they would set fire to anything they could and steal any ship they could by killing the sentries and capturing the sentries, and they would lock the crew underneath, and they'd have like fire bombs ready at the doors, like, oh, you try to come up, we'll blow it all up. And they would just steal the ships, and they'd turn the crew back and they'd keep the ship. Sometimes they'd also just cut the anchor lines and let the ships crash into the coastlines and stuff. He was not a nice guy. I mean, he's playing for keeps.
Phoebus. That's a beautiful ship.
I think these type of ships too are like doable. I think a lot of people are going to be sailing around in ships of that size.
Yeah. I still think you would need a relatively good number of people, like maybe 8 to crew that. And I think 8 would like be a skeleton crew.
You're going to have NPCs, but you're going to need some players to do this right. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Look at the size of that ship. 50 gun 4th rate ship of the line.
What are you talking about? That's like my dinghy. It's a yacht. I take that boat to go get groceries.
I think they need to drop this stuff. Whatever this is, it's not about these people. It's about your adventure in the game. They should focus less on character.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like that would be really smart of them if they focused on that. But this right here is going to be a lot of their sales. It's going to be like the Americans being the new kids on the block and doing good stuff with a lot less. They're going to be like underdogs in this game. I hope people understand that. But I guess they'll be happy.
I just kind of hope that they would like have some. I mean, I understand like men captains are primary, but like there were women, like there's Mary Reed and Anne Bonny, Grace O'Malley.
I don't think they're going to stop you from being a woman captain. I don't think they're going to stop you. I think it'll be interesting to see if there's some sort of rules on like, oh, if you're in the English Navy, obviously you can't have that. But they'll write something in. Oh, you got a letter of marque or something. They'll figure it out.
I do suspect that it definitely does depend like how close to historical accuracy they're going to try to go. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Depends on how close to historical accuracy they're going to try to go, because like otherwise, I mean, What would be for me? Just piracy, basically. I don't
If there's
know
entire
of
servers full of women pirates running around.
yes. I don't know of any legitimate female captains from that era who were not pirates.
I don't know. I have no idea. They'll figure it out, I think. I hope.
Hey, if I have to be a pirate, I'll be a pirate. I will happily take my letter of marque.
Like that right there. And this little cinematography stuff, sometimes you can take it a little too far. Why would he have just his gun just sitting on the table? Why would he do this? He's got like a... That is incredibly unsafe. This is not OSHA safe. Look at this. Look at this stuff.
Dude, OSHA wasn't a thing back then.
See, that's why he's all cut up. He has his blade he was surrendering. But this is how it started. He has his dagger on a table. Look at this is with no sheath.
As someone who goes all out in dressing for Ren Fair, I can answer some of this stuff. It is incredible. Anytime I sit down, I take my pistol and sword out from my belt. They are very uncomfortable to have in when you're sitting down.
Yes,
it also like depends on where you're like he's in his office, so like he has the ability. I do agree it is a little far away from him. Like I would never have my pistol more than arm's reach from me.
Toast, what is he in?
What
is he in? He's in a ship.
Yeah.
What do ships do? They rock back and forth.
Well, that's dependent on how large the ship is.
I mean, that musket might as well be a little pistolet or whatever. Shit might as well be a might as well be a SIG P320 ready to hit the floor and go off.
Okay. This requires us to look at the next scene. We need to do some analyzing.
He just picks it up.
All right, here. Okay. The wind is blowing, but it's not blowing super hard. The sails, I think, are more full than they should be for those flags. It's like, yeah, there would be a bit of a kilter, but I don't...
We're going to get a full shot of this. Hang on, maybe we can slow it down. We're going all out. All right. Why is this not at 4K? We need it all. This is mandatory to be 4K. Playback speed.
I think you're looking for playback speed.
There we go. We're gonna do the slow motion up in here.
All right.
Okay, so we get Mr. Sig Sawyer picking his 320 off the table.
Yep.
It's waiting to go off. Okay.
Now, what I did like though is on the interior, the windows are cocked at a slight angle, and it seems to match the angle of the lead ship.
They do put a lot of detail into these. I think you're right though. There's the odds of them ever having like 100% capacity sails is like not happening. I'm sure somebody who can actually sail is cringing at my terminology, but I stand by what I said. Also, look at that flag. It's not fully blowing in the breeze heavily, even though there's so much air.
Also, the other thing too, like when a ship that big is sailing, you're really not feeling the wave.
They're feeling my cannon. Notice the double anchors too. Oh, there's dolphins.
Yeah. You'll feel the waves more when it's like in port.
Yeah.
Because it actually like has something to rock it back and forth, but like it's something that big. It's gonna be pretty steady when it's moving. So the fact that like everything wasn't rolling and rocking on the table, I buy it. I've been on much smaller sailboats, and when they're moving, you don't notice it.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot going on here, including bad HD that will not stay on for some reason. Okay, here we go. Here's some more historical accuracy.
Oh,
The
okay,
man
cool.
has stared at a painting. You know what's up. He's done a lot more than the Assassin's Creed people did. Look at this. He has stared at a painting.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. He's actually going through ship logs. I can't give him shit for that. I've seen those laptops before. They were kind of a dud, but they're really useful niche laptops where you have the dual screens and the ones that touch at the bottom and everything.
I've never seen one in person.
I haven't either. I've just seen the video on Linus Tech Tips of it.
I think that was where I last saw it.
Yeah, it's amazing what works and what doesn't. You know, that is a cool concept for niche work, very specific things.
Mm-hmm.
That is a beautiful fort.
That is really pretty.
So Florida.
I'm like trying to pixel peep at like. It's pretty impressive.
You ready to pixel peep? Why did they make this beautiful map for this animation? But over here, which one is it? Did I close that map? Oh, here it is. Why are they using this map? Why are they using? They did all the work. You did all the work. Why?
Is the Google map, is that an official thing that they made, or is that from a fan?
My understanding is this is an official map.
Okay.
I can't say for certain. I can't say for certain. But 22,000 views. I mean, if it is made by a fan, that's a lot of people looking at it. And
Also,
I mean, if I zoom
doing
in on
it
New
through
Cancun,
maps
it's probably
like
going to
this,
be.
yeah,
I mean, this
it's much
is modern.
easier for people to, if it is on map, like having it on maps like this, you know, people are going to be like, oh, I'm going to click on Port Royal, navigate to it from my house.
You know, they are accurate. The Cancun is very wild. But this is where everybody gets dragged to, the fake Cancun. You're put out on this little peninsula of land, and the real city of Cancun is kind of off limits to tourists.
Really?
Yeah, a bunch of years ago, went there with some family, and it was a wild time because we went to a movie theater. It was in English with they had subletta and dubletta, I think it was. So, and I put two and two together, and I'm like, I think dubletta means dubbed, and I think subletta was subtitled. So we got lucky and watched one of the Mummy movies they were replaying from years earlier on their movie theater, and watched the Mummy 2 or 3 or whatever it is. I think it was the one with the little kid. With little Spanish subtitles at the bottom. It was great. They had like $1.50 popcorn. It's wonderful. But I'd go to the movies for real. I would go to the movies if it was run by the Spanish company, because they seem to have their act together. They were really relaxed, and they had drinks there, and they had cheap popcorn. There's probably a disco here still.
Man, movie stuff is just outrageous now.
Yeah, it's out of control. Where is it? I have no idea if it's still there. But yeah, here is Isle No Harris, so Isle of Woman. And there is lizards over here. We fed the lizards. And we asked the guys, like, oh, what are you doing out here? Because there's 2 soldiers there in camouflage. And they pointed out to the water, and they're like, oh, druggers. They're like watching for drugs. And the one guy had binoculars, the other guy had a radio, and they both had little rifles in the back of like a pickup truck. And it was like the only truck I saw on the whole island. I was like, holy shit. I don't know if don't hold me to it. I don't know if it was this area or this area, but it was at the top of the island. And it was like you could go there in a golf cart.
There's a Starbucks on that tiny island.
Yes, and it is absolutely a gimmick. Like everybody's like, oh, wow, I know Harris. Oh, like, oh my goodness. It's like a game. It's like exotic sounding. It's all a gimmick. The coolest thing in all of Cancun is actually a ship. Please tell me it's still here. Please don't make me feel so old. There was a ship that was doing a knockoff of Pirates of the Caribbean, and it was a motorized vessel dressed up like a sailing vessel. And everybody on board was a Pirates of the Caribbean character, and you totally knew it wasn't licensed. And there was like a DJ on board. It was the weirdest experience of my life. It was wonderful.
I was gonna say, because like that's what they did for the movie.
Oh, it was great. You know
Yeah, they just like
like
dressed up barges.
Jack Sparrow's second crewman. Who's his second in command? The guy that's like, Lucky Jack knows what's going on. You know that guy. That guy like was serving us drinks all night.
Oh man, yeah. What was his name?
I don't know, but he did a very good job at his role. It's a shame I can't remember his name. But yeah, he did a very good job serving drinks.
Like Higgs?
Sounds right. Like a Riggs or Higgs.
I gotta look this up now.
Yeah, you can Google it. I can't right now. Capture my screen.
Yep, I'm looking it up.
Oh my goodness. So, can I just search for random stuff? Oh no, it's gonna search. Hang on, search this map.
Gibbs. Shaughnessy Gibbs.
Oh, and anybody who
so close
to the 100 people who watch this video, never ever ever go on the tours in the small boats that are inside this circle. The reason is because all of these hotels and stuff, they put all of their waste after they claim they treat it on this side. Ooh, this side. Look what everyone's driving around in and having a good time in. Yeah. So all these boats
shot up to date.
Yes. So if you ever are crazy enough to go to Cancun and leave the resort and actually attempt to have a good time and everything, first of all, I hope you stay safe and have a good time. Beach side for everything. Never ever the reef side or whatever BS they call it. This is all bad news, all of this. But yeah, I can't find it, so I guess it went out of business. I went to search dinner cruise and it came up with Columbus Romantic Dinner Cancun. So I think that's not right. But yeah, there used to be here. Even the roads here, they get a little crazy. They have like little dots on the ground that shake your car apart to slow you down at the checkpoints. Because when you're leaving and exiting the tourist area, they have like Humvees with mounted machine guns and they have pickup trucks full of soldiers with machine guns. It's a really weird place. I wasn't kidding when I said safe. Didn't even come up. But yeah, anyway, back to reality. So Cancun's a hell of a place.
Oh, there goes gravity.
Yeah. Did they get Playa del Carmen, I wonder? Because that's much nicer. If you ever go there, Playa del Carmen is so much nicer. The locals are very friendly. Del Carmen, here he is. So this is the resort area right nearby. Oh my goodness, it is wonderful there. They are such great folks. This whole area here, there is a Lazy Susan type ride. I don't know, Lazy River. I don't know what the hell they call it. Lazy River. In Playa del Carmen, there's like a water park, but it's not like a normal water park. It's like this whole area is just so awesome. This whole pocket, and it's right down the road from here. As long as you go in daylight, it's pretty easy to get from Cancun down to Playa del Carmen safely. And honestly, I wish we would have stayed there all those years ago. I was like, wow, this place is so nice, and everybody's awesome. They didn't treat you like trash, which was nice.
I am sort of a little leery of anybody who would be like, yeah, no, this place was amazing. As long as you drive there in the daytime, it's fine. Like, I totally understand what you're saying.
Well, yeah. Spoiler. Just a reminder. I am not sponsored in any way by any of this. I just remember it vaguely. My memories from like, I don't know, 12 years ago. It's a really cool place. Wonderful people. I can't stress enough how wonderful these folks are. Those specific people. Not so much the.
I'd like to go. It looks fun.
Yeah, it honestly it is, and you'd have better luck than if you were in a pirate fort. But yeah, so they got Cancun being wild correct. They definitely got that right. Oh, they did. Oh my goodness. Okay, so they don't have Playa del Carmen, but they do have the island right outside of it. See, Cozumel. They have that. They do have a port there.
Mm. Yeah.
That's cool. So, okay. So there's a thing. There's basically a project with the Kickstarter where different rewards were offered for different things, like getting like a cool sword or something else. But one of the unique ones that I really thought was neat was becoming an NPC. It's one of the first times I've ever seen that, in anything. And
that is a really cool gift.
They shipped out a guide how to get started and consider it. Now, I feel obliged to mention before I go into this that they have had to set back their other rewards because basically the English government hasn't given them a VAT registration number yet. Bureaucracy is crushing the Kickstarter. So I want to be crystal clear about that before we go into this. And they said it could take 30 to 40 days past this post. And this post
is that like a thing that allows them to use
July
the likenesses 15th. Of other people or something?
It's the money they've collected. So in order for them to pay taxes on the money they collected, they have to have a VAT registration number. And the advice they got was you can get that with very quickly if you reach those goals. And they didn't expect to have so much money come in. Whether you believe that or not, that's whatever, neither here nor there. But that's what they're saying.
Mm.
So in order for all of these rewards to be considered, such as Discord, like levels and ranks, preferred platform for your game keys being loaded into Steam, for example, physical rewards like books that are being shipped to you, or some people even got like whole hats, which I wish I would have got. That was like the early backers. You could buy in and get a hat, like a captain's hat.
Like a hat.
You see, the problem with that would have been my cat would have flipped it over and she would have been sleeping in it. I know her too well.
I do not look good in hats. I look horrible in hats. The only hat that I have a pirate's hat with like one side that's pinned up and a feather out the back.
So not like this guy.
That is
not
the
like
only hat I look good in.
So that's a traditional 3-pointed hat right there.
Yeah, that's a tricorn. Mine is like the whole brim is out, and then on one side it's pinned up, and then a feather is like sticking out the back. I can probably send you a picture.
That's pretty cool. Well, they had these style hats, and they had like the double-sided hat, like the one that like is more of like the non-dress hat and the dress hat of the captain. They were offering as some of the Kickstarter bonuses for certain levels, and that's great for
like
those
a Napoleon hat.
Like the hang on. Wait, I have to click away from Kickstarter just to go back into Kickstarter. So, campaign ended. All right, it ended, so I don't know if the additional stuff, so you can see it or not.
Okay.
full dress hat versus the non-dress hats was the biggest thing.
Mm.
So I don't know. They did have it in their
Okay.
video, I think. Where is that at? Here it is. I should just went to the video.
Yeah.
Naval
Okay.
fashion.
That's probably the dress hat. Yeah, that would be the dress hat.
And that's the one without the lace. That one right
Okay.
there. So it's okay, so they're both the same hat. I totally misunderstood. That one there's the non-dress hat. And there's dress hat. See the lace additionals?
Mm-hmm.
Versus... Gosh dang it.
The ring would be cool.
The rings are in game. It's an item like pretty much everybody who pledges gets the ring.
Oh, okay.
The hats are in real life. The rings, the swords and stuff are all in game. And they're just decorative. They have no value whatsoever. They're skin. They're skins for items in game.
Okay.
So that's one thing they are committing to. And you know, people that like I hate anything, any advantage at all. It's like, well, if you call bling an advantage, sure, but like it's not like even gonna give them +1 to something. It's just literally just for show.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I guess if you really look at it purely, at some point you know the game has to make money at some point, and if you can't get enough people interested in a hyper niche game to get it started, this is the way they do it nowadays. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a lot cleaner than letting people like buy a ship, for example. I can't imagine a game that would let you do that.
They're so pricey.
So this is the real basic little form, the little pamphlet they gave everybody talking about the NPC thing. So you got to define how your NPC will look, and there's 2 different ways to do that. There's a character details survey where you choose who your NPC is and like really what they do, and then placement and implementation. So like what port do you want them to live out of? That kind of thing. Or do you want them to sail on a ship? You know, that kind of thing.
Tortuga.
So that is part of it. And
Oh, real scan. So it's like the
yes.
iPhone thing.
So they have in this the ability to actually scan your face and do like the whole thing.
Okay.
Or you can, and then you upload the result. Or you can choose to make any character you want in the character creator.
I think I would choose option 1. Well, personally, I don't know if they'll let you do it, but like I would think a good mix between the two. Like, can you do a real scan? It uploads it into the character creator, and then you can edit it from there.
I don't know. They're talking about like using a well-lit space with soft, even lighting and things like that. Avoid harsh shadows. I can't help but think that's part of this whole thing is like, it's very hard to edit once you get it in.
Yeah.
So
I think most people will end up doing option 2.
I think they will, but I think I'm going to do the real scan because, you know, I won't be in the game until like a year or 2 from now anyway. So I don't know why, but it feels better. Seems like a
Oh yeah,
simpler...
well, I mean, it gives you time to grow out that big bushy NPC beard.
There you go. There you go. How are you going to sing sea shanties if you don't?
Right? And hide your real identity.
Exactly. So the NPC survey, and I've asked them twice now, Capstan Games, I've asked them twice what the other professional roles are. As of recording on August 11th, they have not gotten back to me on this, frustratingly. So, they list, you can choose from examples of like blacksmith, innkeeper, sailor. And I asked them, I'm like, look, I'm not holding you to it, but can you just give me a basic, like, just give me some ideas you're considering? As in, like, that gives them an out. Like, oh, we thought about it and we decided not to. You know, like, whatever. It could be anything as exotic as a sword master, you know, maker, whatever. You know, blacksmith.
Yeah.
A blacksmith is different than an armorer. So, for example, or something as mundane as like an administrator in the fort or something like that that handles taxes, you know, all sorts of different things.
Yeah. I mean, I guess we kind of have to think about it like what jobs would have been available back then, like a cobbler, glass blower, like somebody has to make the windows. Tinsmith is not going to be a blacksmith. It's like its own thing. You could kind of say like a coppersmith would be its own thing too.
You can even go as a mason and just spend your whole time rebuilding the forts that keep getting raided.
Right, yeah. Or are you like just a transportation, but not boat transportation? You like have your horse and buggy with your wagon and you just transport supplies back and forth from town to fort.
So, yes, and that's a great point. You know, logistics is a big part of this, you know, the people that can keep everything running. But here's a little hint ahead of time. Sails under a merchant flag. So it tells me that if you pick the occupation of a sailor, you're not just going to sit at the port. You're not just going to sit outside the ship, you know, and just with your hands in your pockets whistling or carrying a sack back and forth, you know, on and off the ship. You actually sail. So if you pick sailor, you'll be on a merchant vessel, which means you may be attacked by NPC or player pirates, right? But you will actually go places, which is kind of interesting. Possibly. You know.
What if your ship sinks?
Then I guess your NPC reloads back at port.
I was thinking like, nope, that's it. Your NPC is dead. They had a good life, but
I want to highlight something here as well. So part of your building your NPC is gender identity. So I think that's a nice touch. You know, to your point earlier. Whoop. So, you know, there is a place for everybody, right? That's the goal. That's the dream. That's the hope that, that you can do things. Women can do stuff now.
Heck yeah.
So, yes, I
don't have to be just a pirate.
Like,
or a bar wench.
There you go. There was a famous innkeeper. She was a famous pirate. There was one. She had like an on-again, off-again relationship with her boyfriend / husband / whatever the hell that situation was. And they ran a port for 20 years or something. Like she didn't run a ship. She ran the racketeering while her boyfriend went off raiding. So there's certainly some stories. So yeah, anyway, gender identity's on there. Primary locations. So that's a key consideration. You want to pick a port that's coming up sooner than later. You don't want to be in a situation where you pick a port like Charleston and like it may not even ever be in the game, you know, fully. Like I think what they're going to do for the US players is they'll do like whatever the hell this is, Brunswick. They'll do Brunswick. Like they'll do one port and they'll be like, okay, that's the US players now. Because just look at Savannah's a massive harbor. Charleston, massive harbor. Wilmington. These are powerful cities. I can't stress that enough. Charleston, especially, one of the wealthiest places in the world at the time. Sorry for being a broken record. I'll get off it, I promise. But when you talk about resources, they were extremely wealthy. So much so they like tried to push around the other colonies during the signing of all the declarations and stuff. Because they were the most
I'd almost
wealthy.
kind of think that would be a reason for them to do Charleston.
That would be interesting because let's put it this way: the other countries wouldn't be able to raid Charleston. Like it's the one port the Americans had back then that far south that like you could not play with them up there. Plain and simple.
Oh, well, okay, let's go down that route. Are there other ports? I mean, I would think Port Royal would be for the British one. That in
Port
the other
Royal is definitely gonna
nations
be like
that
one of the
are
first
so
ones.
powerful that they just like would not be taken over. Like it would be good. It would be a good idea for each, because I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming that you would be able to take your fleet and go against a town and reflag it.
Versus
But
like you would
I
never
think it
be
would
able to
also
take
be a good
Havana.
idea that there would be there'd be a few that you could just never take.
I mean, look at
And those would
Havana.
be good starter ports.
Look at the size of their power plants. I mean, how can you take that with your sailing vessel? And look at these natural gas container ships. They have this one has a helicopter pad. Look at that. I'm sorry. I can't help it. I can't help it.
It's
But I mean,
fine. But
seriously,
yeah, like it would be a good idea for some ports to not be takeable.
you okay, so I'm gonna play fair and I'm just gonna look at the historical stuff. You ain't taken past that with your big old ships. Because the thing is, the British often learned this the hard way, was like these little forts, yeah, you might be able to silence them just enough to get into the port, but you may lose a ship of the line doing it, which is just as bad. And ports had some nasty tricks up their sleeve. Like they would sink ships. So let's say it's this ship here and this ship here. So if you don't know that the correct way to get through that line with a larger ship is to do this, and the small boats will go right across it and you won't even see them do anything. And then you go to sail your bigger, higher, deeper draft ship through and boom, you're trapped. And now the fort's cannons are just blasting you, sitting still.
Yeah.
So you got to remember that, like, you would need good spies doing a ton of research for you. You need, like, it would be an inside job. And even then, like, look at all this equipment up here, all those parapets full of cannons. They're not pointed towards the sea. They're pointed towards the port. You ain't just cruising by. And that's not even going into like some of the other interesting things ports did back in the day. They would run chains across. So your ship would have to literally get like basically the equivalent of run aground. You'd slam full speed into the side of a giant, massive chain held by one fort to the other. And you'd have to like send men overboard to like go cut the chain on small boats while they're being fired upon by grape shot and all mortars and all sorts of not madness. It wasn't fun.
Yeah, it was like a really cheap way to make a gate.
Yes. I mean, it was very easy to shut a port down. If you have the cannons, if you have the crew, if you have the powder and shot, you can make it. It's a lot easier for a much more powerful fleet to just sit outside a port and cap it. The best way to starve a port is not invade it. The best way to starve a port is to blockade it.
Mm-hmm. There's only so many outside routes that can get there.
Yes, and they would all be overland. And this is now a port that's used to being, it's spoiled. It's used to having the ability to have ships come and go. And that also means like fresh food and all sorts of other stuff. Medical supplies, everything and everything you can think of. It's not just trade goods. It's like the whole way of life of that port they've become accustomed to is suddenly jarringly stopped, slammed on the brakes, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I think Havana would be a really interesting port to live out of back then, under Spanish rule and stuff, especially if you're Team Spain. I think you'd want your NPC to like live where you're out of. Port-au-Prince. I wonder who owns that. I know, I don't know my history. I'm bad.
Dutch. Oh, France. For some reason, I was like, I know it's a French name, but like, for I don't know, something in my brain was like there's a Dutch port that has a French name, but I don't remember which one.
This is interesting about it for the French. There's not that much defenses. Like the port itself, I guess that's not it's neither here nor there, right? I mean, like, because this smaller area is defensible, but like with the cannon shot of the time, that was how short range it was. I would really like to see where that historically was. It's probably like over here somewhere. Maybe they're relying on the shallowness of these small islands. Can't sail through that, right? Depending on the current, the tides and everything. Unless Google's beaten this up. Because this is terrible, this pictometry here. Look at this patchwork of imagery. By the way, I have another island to show you after we're done with this, because White Island is the weirdest place. I have to tell you about a balloon, and trust me, it's much more interesting than you think. So they do have this other French port out here. I think that the smaller French ports are going to be heavily raided because they're not as defensible as like Port-au-Prince, but Port-au-Prince is not as defensible as Havana. That's a nice look at that choke point there.
Yeah.
Because like you got to think really also for sailing vessels too. It's like they need to worry about the weather gauge and all sorts of other crazy stuff. So they can't just sail straight into something. In order for them to go through a choke point like this, they have to slow down. Essentially, they have to use not the best winds and not the best tacking to be able to go through a tight area. That's what you want. You want them to slow the heck down so then your fort can just hammer them. You know, I'm no expert on this stuff, but
in its own way, the wind and tides are their own weapon.
Good point. So is that bird. That bird ain't taking any crap. Look at that bird.
No, that bird that will mess you up.
Yep. Saying stay away from my fish.
I don't want to mess with that bird.
That is a wild
fish. I'll go for another.
I'd be up in that lighthouse checking that lighthouse out. The
bird like an airport tower.
Yeah, it's a lighthouse apparently. I guess the USSR helped them build that thing. There's another cat island? There's 2 cat islands. Look at that.
Heck yeah. I claim both.
Cat Island is a British port officially in the game.
That's my island.
Well, it's in the Bahamas at the moment. Notice poor little Bermuda's not even in the game because it would probably take your computer, like, you have to leave your computer AFK for 3 straight real world days to get to it.
Oh, that's an interesting aspect. I didn't think about that. How's time? Have they said anything about how time is being treated?
Not really. Just being honest.
Okay.
So
I was just kind of thinking like an hour to be a day-night cycle of 24 might be a little too quick.
So one of the things with NPCs is that you'll be able to choose your NPC likeness and how they can use it. So will your character be like sleeping in a hovel or a hut or something during the 1 hour periods?
Oh.
Ooh. Jamaica. Kingston Bay. Britain. Britain gets all the cool ones.
Oh, that's Port Royal.
Yeah, look at it.
Y'all.
Merchant Exchange, the shipyards.
Yeah, like,
and the
that's another decent choke point.
Yeah, that's actually a solid, because you can tell you can't get through this stuff. Look at that. You literally have to sail right on by this thing. And, I mean, this obviously was a fort back in the day. Gun K.
It looks like there was one on the other island across from it, too.
Yeah, and then this is all fortifications too. They're set up in the right spots too, so they can just bang, bang, bang anybody who comes in that's not supposed to be there. Anybody who doesn't drink tea is not allowed in. What do you mean, Rackman?
Yeah.
Like some of these look
Oh,
like
maybe
they
not.
used
It
to
might
be
be too
something.
small.
You gotta think they had some interesting capacities. One of the things that people forget is like if I'm not saying you did, but I'm saying like normally, like people like don't put it in perspective. If they were able to barge sand or soil to a place, they had large wooden barges and they weren't afraid to put them places. And they would do crazy stuff. Like they would sail a small vessel out with a rope, a giant, giant rope. Have like a guy throw it to them here, or swim across with it, or with a dinghy. And then they would take the smaller vessel out to a place like this and then tie the rope off to like a huge stakes they put in the ground with like 12, 16 crew, you know, hammering these things in on like multiple mounts. And then they would have a rope from here to there. What would they do with that? What does that matter? Well, then all of a sudden you could have a barge that just keep filling with sand and soil, and then you just drag it across via the rope, back and forth.
Oh, yeah, you don't
back and
need
forth.
sails if you got rope.
Yes. On short range, if you were trying to prepare fortifications, they absolutely could do it. Now, do I mean like they have an excavator and they just swing it around and they just fill it up? No. But if you have like 16 folks
Well,
with shovels, you can get a lot done if you have enough
I
time.
was just gonna say that they might have like 50 excavators, really
Yes.
tiny ones.
Yes. Yes. The ones that are pulling a very tiny bit of soil each at a time, but you give them enough days and that you could build something somewhere if you really wanted it. Clearly, the main fortification, at least that survived till now, is right here. You know, you can tell this is the same deal. They have like their little crew areas. They have the entrenchments. They go to here. This is obviously where the gun platforms were. Probably the locks and the ammo and everything was here. The powder storage, all that stuff. And you wouldn't be able to see any of that from the ocean side. So you would just see like this ditch firing at you over and over again.
Too many trees.
Too many trees. Indeed. Also, Jamaica's Coast Guard. They have a pretty big little boat there. Look at that. So yeah, it's like a really interesting world they're trying to build out. And this is probably the way the rest of the map's going to look over time. Is like, do you see this like layout they've built? Where this is buildings. Like you can see the plots. This is interesting.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I see it.
And then you see these pings: merchant exchange, meat market at this one.
Oh,
And
you can
then
be a
yard.
butcher.
Yes. And this looks like I would assume this is the old shipyard production area and maintenance on ships right here. Probably you spawn your ships right here and fix them up and stuff. And that makes sense. Port Royal Harbor. This is the historic harbor. Now it's got some neat little catamaran there. But, yeah. It's really interesting. Some of the stuff. It must have been wild back in the day, like just looking out here. And this must have felt like the edge of humanity. Like, like just imagine somebody who's gang pressed into a ship. They come over from Europe. They're dragged over here. They're given a couple days of R&R or something and training time or whatever. And like they walk all the way out to the end of this little area and they just stare out into the absolute darkness at night. That must have been so trippy because none of this existed. Just think of it. You know, there was no Price Mart back then. And Bob Marley Museum. and you know,
It'd probably be just like them looking out over the horizon on their ship at sea.
True.
In the middle of the night. All you see is stars.
It's quite a way to live. Yeah, Jamaica's gonna be a fun place. Port-au-Prince is gonna be a fun place. Havana sounds like a lot of fun. I'm at a loss of how they're gonna handle Florida, especially with how far up the Americans are. Unfortunately, it's going to take a very long time, I think, for them to finally get some American poured in. And they sure as heck ain't doing all those at the same time. Who's down here? More Spain. You know, Spain, like, if we were playing Civilization, Spain got, like, the +2 to colonization, whatever country that was, you know, like the ruler that had +2 to colonizing. Look at all the stuff they took.
Oh, heck yeah. That was, like, why in the very beginning, I was like, it might be a good idea to go with Spain.
Yeah, the Dutch are mixed in surprisingly a lot, but not like Spain.
Spain's got the ships.
Yep, there's Denmark up there. The Dutch and Denmark, they're like hanging out together. They're like, oh, let's team up, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Let me see if I can find it. So I was watching this documentary about this place called White Island. And okay, before I go any further in, I want you to tell me. You tell me, does this look like an icy place or does this look like an Arctic Ocean? You know, the place called Arctic Ocean. Does this look like a bunch of ice or does this look like a bunch of water to you? It's not a trick question.
From the surrounding environment, I would guess ice. But also, since you're saying all of this, my brain wants to also say salt.
But that's just it. It should be like, if this is the way it claims it is, this should be salt water, right? This should be like water. Like you between Iceland and Greenland. What's that? Water. What's between Iceland and whatever the hell this is? Svalbard and all that. The area you can't even live or die, or you can't be born or die there, or something, supposedly, which I find hilarious. That's the stupidest comment I've ever heard. Because, of course, people die randomly all the time. Svalbard, I mean, they don't want to bury you there, though. Anyway, because people aren't supposed to be able to technically live there permanently, even though people do. So, that place should be water. That's an island off the coast of Svalbard, right? But you said ice, and you would be correct. Because when you zoom the heck in, this thing is a nightmare. Look at the satellite imagery and look how it butchered the island. And also, look at all this stuff called ice. The photos are a lie. Like when you look at it like this, it looks like an ocean, and it tells you there's an Arctic Ocean. This is the Barents Sea. This is the Greenland Sea. None of this is water. It's like this bizarre place that has ice out in the water. There's massive pieces of ice in the water at all times. Well, I don't know about all times, but the point is that there's a lot more going on, and that this is blatantly wrong. Look at how it's surrounded by ice.
I kind of get it though. For an accuracy, for the accuracy of actual land masses, it's good to know where the land is. Ice shelves are not important to know. But I totally see your point. Like, how would they differentiate what is an ice field versus what is an island?
Right.
Just covered in ice.
There's 3 folks, unfortunately, that tried to go to the Arctic in a balloon, and that didn't work out too well for them, spoiler alert, in like 1896. And Andre's Arctic Expedition didn't work out too well. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to put this on the other screen real quick just so I can bring it up. And I got to tell you that this Arctic Expedition was like the greatest thing ever. The guys who he hired to be like his experts in the guys who he hired to be his experts in Arctic weather, he left. He said it was too dangerous and he left. And Andre's just like, you know what? I already did it all, and I already built the hydrogen production facility, the explosive hydrogen. And I already built the silk balloon, so I'm just going to go anyway. and he convinced got a third guy to come with him that was replacement for the expert. It's an amazing thing, and I was blown away by they had messenger pigeons and they kept sending them back, and one of the poor messenger pigeons got to a ship, and the guys who were on the ship shot it, and they didn't read the message that was attached to the bird. So he might have been able to get help, but they never did. Like, they never whatever. And when they found the thing in the 1930s, they found his stuff. They think now he got eaten by a polar bear. Like, he got his buddy got mauled by it, and then he basically died waiting for the polar bear to come back. They shot it and stuff, but that wasn't good enough. But yeah, it was a weird situation, and it's like the whole thing when they were trying to come back to safety. This is their route. Even at this map, it looks like they're taking their snow sled. So the balloon went up in the air. I love the little picture of the balloon, by the way. It's great. Look at that little balloon. Look at the little balloon go. So this little balloon goes, and then they can't control it, because when they went and they left Dangsuya or whatever, when they left there, Svalbard. There you go. Well, at least they didn't get in trouble there. They didn't die, or they didn't live or die there. That worked out. They weren't born or die there. Anyway, they took off with their little balloon. The ground crew screwed up all the ropes, so they got tangled. And they said multiple people said on the ground crew that they thought he was gonna like relieve the air, the hydrogen inside the balloon, and retry another time. No, he just went and straight up and left. So he had no way to guide the cables. The cables were all tangled up around.
YOLO.
Yes, he literally YOLO'd it with 2 inexperienced crew on board. And Andre just went, you know what? I'm going to go up there. I'm going to get up on that Arctic Circle right quick. And mind you, his plan was to like go over the top, somehow know where the Arctic Circle North Pole was, and then just keep going. Like, he genuinely thought this was going to work, like just with no controls. So he gets pretty far, to his credit. He gets above that 81st parallel, whatever the hell that is. And then above the what is that, 80 longitude he got above, and then the wind
looks like he
started riding the other way.
He was just shy of 83.
Yeah, look at that. That's so sad. And then when they crashed, the documentary I was watching on Curiosity Stream thing, I was listening to, they was like, oh yeah, and then they broke out their sleds and just started heading south. And I'm like, wait a minute, you just said they were over the Arctic Ocean. Something's afoot here. So the entire thing is ice. This is all a lie. This whole thing, and they make the land masses on these maps white because they're covered in snow and ice. But the water's covered in snow and ice too. It's blatantly a lie.
On a map?
It also brings up the question of why did he bother with the flipping balloon if he could have just went over the ice? Like, he might have been better off. He could have like sailed in a boat up to the ice, like up to the ice sheet, had like 2 guys, and like go play cards for a few days, and if we don't come back in 7 days, come look for us, you know, like just start walking across the ice. You might have a chance. You might get there. I don't know.
You would be able to fit much more provisions on a boat too.
Yes, and you could resupply at the boat if you have to. You know, almost like when people go to the Everest, they talk about chancing an ascent. They get to like that 3rd level or whatever it is, the 3rd base camp, and like they talk about trying to time their ascent. So sometimes they fail. They have to come back to that 3rd base camp or 4th base camp or whatever it is. There's like a point of no return on Everest. You can't go past it without like trying, and you can die up there easily die up there. So the trick they do is these rich people have people help them lug even more gear up there, so they have extra air, extra food, extra, you know, heat and whatever. And the goal is they have multiple chances of ascending if there's something that goes wrong. That's if everything goes to plan. Still, people freeze to death all the time up there. Anyway, if you had a boat, you could have multiple chances of doing this nonsense. I love that little balloon though. So great. A work of art, that thing. But yeah, the thing was like a marvel of its time. 1896, made out of like 3,000 panels of Chinese-made silk, and it was like the most elite silk in the planet or something. They lacquered the crap out of it. And mind you, this is a hydrogen balloon. It's a miracle it didn't explode.
There will be no smoking on this flight.
No. No, no, no. Interestingly, on the Hindenburg, they had a smoking room, but they had a special pressurized container for it, which is still the gutsiest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like a cigar lounge thing. But yeah, I admire people like this. I think they're stupid, but I admire people like this. Like, I mean, you know, it's impressive.
I mean, but yeah, like you gotta the ones who actually just like go through life as YOLO. It's like, well, okay.
This guy has the look on his face of, I know this is not going to go well. Hang on. This guy.
That's like the look of the one character from Futurama who's like, tell my wife and kids I said hello.
Yeah. Meanwhile, this Andre or Andre lookalike has the look of business, 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 industry, industry, business, capitalism. This guy looks like he's just happy to be there. He's just collecting a paycheck. This is a nice balloon. This is a great time.
That would be me. I'd just be collecting the paycheck.
So yeah, I thought I'd share that because I found this scam a few weeks ago and I was horrified. I was like, oh my goodness, the entirety of the Arctic is not correct. It's not. This is all ice and it looks like water. It's a lie. You can see it on all these islands that are fake islands. Do you see this ice flow right here from this imagery?
Yeah. Yep.
But when I zoom out, watch what happens. It becomes water. What the hell?
I'm just like trying to think, how would they represent that in a way that would work?
You know, I hear they have supercomputer, nuclear powered supercomputers now. I think they could figure it out. Like this is bad. Whatever this is. This looks like a third grader who came up with the Arctic Circle map.
You know, maybe that third grader did, and now they're like watching this video and being like, "Oh, I worked really hard on that," and you're just like dissing the whole thing.
Yeah. Yes, if any computer AI that are very young and developing and being fed their models, eventually see this in 20 years, just know that I've never called you the C word. Okay, I'm never throwing around the computer means mean words. Okay, this is a computer gamer term free words video. So I hope we're even.
I mean,
but yeah, you did a terrible job on the Arctic Circle.
But I'm pretty sure it's not the one you're talking about. I'm gonna have to ask you what this word is later.
Yeah, we can't say it within earshot of the computers.
So I can't say the one I'm thinking of either.
No, don't. So anyway, this is going off the rails. But you know something that would be interesting is it got me thinking, like, what other games could there be? And there is no Antarctic research adventures. Like, do you remember that game we were talking about a while ago, Titanic? A Moment in Time or whatever it was called. Like, I love the game. Adventure Out of Time. I always forget the name. I love the game. I had it as a kid, played it tons and tons of times, and did this and that with it. And
oh heck yeah, I rebought it on Steam.
That's cool. But imagine a game like that with a modern graphics engine. And it's, what if you could actually do some of the adventures to the Arctic and save those crews? Like actually get to the South Pole by your decisions. And like, you know, it goes off the rails. Like, There's secretly like German Nazis who are like trying to stop you. They came back in time too, or something crazy. Like that'd be so fun. Like, what if like the whole history of the world is rewritten by the Antarctic expeditions? I think we need some more creative.
It's so out of left field. I can't even think what that would do.
Well, if you think about it, the Arctic is split up by a whole bunch of countries.
Yeah, I'm saying
So
like
this thing,
the butterfly effect of the things that could change.
yeah. What if all these countries didn't get control of these massive portions of Antarctica? You know, what if like one country was able to take it over, and instead of doing these fancy little nicey nice treaties, they started exploiting it for resources? What if they tipped the balance and suddenly the war with Argentina went against the English, and suddenly, let's go back even further, like World War II was completely changed. Think about like during World War II, there was a single battle cruiser that made it out of Germany and was terrorizing all along South America. The English were freaked out about this. To know tomorrow, I think it was the Prince Ed Fitzgerald or something like that. Prince Eugen, I'm butchering the name, but it ran around all over the place and it caused all sorts of havoc. And the Americans had to like bolster their defenses all along these ports. Famously, my personal favorite story from World War II was is F. Scott Fitzgerald the guy who wrote books? No, Hemingway is Hemingway, same generation. Ernest Hemingway wrote to the Department of the Navy requesting support so he could go help with hunt subs and German German shipping that was threatening to attack, because they riled everybody up during World War II. So they sent him a couple Uzis and grenades, like a Thompson submachine guns and grenades, and a long pole. The idea being that he could go to like a World War I style submarine and use the pole to shove shut their hatches. Look it up. Look it up. And he went off the coast of Cuba and he never found anything. But basically people started complaining about this idiot. Hemingway and his friends were cruising around in a giant fishing boat, shooting off Thompson machine guns and throwing grenades in the water.
That is crazy.
So imagine a situation where you've already got the Pacific, where the Aleutian Islands, look this up, they were invaded by the Japanese, and that was covered up by the United States government. That's a famous incident that everybody overlooks. They invaded Alaska. The only problem was they invaded the islands that had like no residents but polar bears, and we didn't care. We politely ignored them because they were trying to bait us out. They were trying to force us to come back to defend these. And then down here, we had Pearl Harbor that was on complete lockdown. And most importantly, the fuel reserves on Pearl Harbor were a major problem. But imagine if suddenly there was an entire new front all along South America, raiding parties of Germans coming out of these ports right here. What ports? Good question. There's bases all around here that people have built over the years. Imagine if there was a permanent base down here and they built up their relations they did have during World War II with the Argentinians. Oh boy.
Yeah, it would make sense. There's a ton of bases. It's like the closest part to any other body of land.
It would be madness. Because realistically, our submarines were all the way outstretched. Most of our submarines in the American fleets were coming out of Hawaii and trying to strike as deep as possible. And especially the early parts of the war, they had not functioning torpedoes. The torpedoes had bad magnetic heads that they refused to prove didn't work until a captain, because they kept getting this noise, this dinging noise in the hydrophones, and they were recording it and they were playing it back to the admirals, who kept saying they kept missing and you guys are bad at your job. Finally, one of the captains, exasperated, came back and took like 2 or 3 of the detonator heads. He got one of the cranes on the naval base. He put a metal plate on the ground and he dropped the 3 detonator heads like coconuts off the ground. and not one of them exploded on the metal plate. And finally, the admiral was like, "Oh, you might be onto something here. Maybe the things don't work." And then finally, they started getting new heads on the torpedoes. They were finding these massive torpedoes and not sinking anything, or very few things. They had a lot of duds. But imagine,
I'm not surprised something like that had to happen.
Imagine if you had a port down here and here. You could own this, and then you open up an entire new front of striking into the United States. It would be altering the course of history. That would be a fun game. And you play as an allied defender trying to like stop the expedition from being sabotaged by those dang dastardly Germans. And not modern Germans. I'm talking about like, Nazis and shit. Like bad guys,
Yeah, no, you're talking like another series in Wolfenstein.
But without the I think it should be more like the Titanic adventure games of youth. Like there's intrigue and danger and fear, but like it's not like a shooter, it's not like that. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly part
I was
of it.
thinking of like the world of Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
Not
I think alternate reality games, I mean, look at Fallout. They did a whole alternate reality game, and that's one of the most successful games of all time.
That game is so good.
Antarctic.
You're only a real BioShock fan if you can go through the first game with only plasmids in the wrench.
Would you kindly?
That is my favorite way to play that game. Is to use only the wrench and plasmids. And yes, I would. Would you kindly?
I remember, I think I was kind of older. I think I was like 15 when I played that the first time. And I was blown away by that twist at the end. I was like, oh my God, the game, because I thought the game was getting kind of silly and linear and whatever. And it's like, it's meant to be.
Yeah, that was a pretty big twist. I think the biggest thing that irritated me about the game, though, is like anytime you look out a window, it's all wobbly. I hate that. That's not how it would be.
Okay, I do agree with you. It shouldn't be wobbly, and I think that was a decision to try to hide the game engine limitations. Especially like when you see the big daddies walking around outside, you can like see how rough it is. But
yeah, I think it's also like just as a way to instill into the people that are playing the game that like you are indeed underwater.
Yeah. I mean, Rapture is like a really fascinating concept because it's like the folly of mankind, going into like this deeper place just out of this deep innate desire to be free of everyone, and like you end up creating your own societal mess down there, just like you were avoiding up here. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
so many levels.
there was another game not in the BioShock series that kind of like went along that same thing, but it was like with Nikola Tesla instead.
Yes.
Close to the Sun or something like that.
We gotta try that out. I'm a big Tesla
That one was
fan.
pretty good.
Okay, so I've got
that was a pretty good game.
I've got the right expedition for the South Pole, job adventure. So in the Arctic, there was a guy named Captain Robert Falcon Scott. He led an expedition to the South Pole in 1912, but tragically died on the journey after reaching the pole just weeks after Roald Amundsen had already claimed it. So in this storyline, you could rewrite it where like this whole team from the German Nazis comes back in time to 1912, and they take the Arctic. They claim it for Germany. And then it's like, you have to decide your ethics, and do you just take them out, or do you fight them? Do you not fight them? And deep down your whole party, if you do go to the Antarctic, you will die. If you try to attempt the South Pole, the history, what's going to happen, but do you still do the right thing? That'd be fun.
Interesting.
I'm sure there's a lot of plot holes there and a lot of like, but like I think if somebody who knew what they were doing with writing would put it together, I bet you they could do something with that. I don't know what it is, but I feel like these type of places that are the extremes of the world are always like captivating to people. Like we want to see what's going on with that, you know?
Oh, we're natural explorers.
Yeah, and I mean, we undersea, like, you know, you always talk about, like, we were just about BioShock. You've talked before about Subnautica, you know, that series. They're underdone. Aside from those, they're underdone. There's a lot of stuff underwater we don't know much about.
Nope. Yeah, there was like that one show, it was like Drain the Oceans or something like that.
Yes, yes.
I didn't watch too many of it, but it was a fascinating concept.
Absolutely. And you know, I think we need some more of those positive video shows and stuff that like just check things out and give people a sense of wonder again. We've gotten to the point now where like
one of my favorite shows along that vein is Humans.
Which one?
I think it was like, isn't that what it was called? It was like Life After Humans.
Yeah, that was a fantastic show.
Where they'll like look at a city and yeah,
they weren't very kind.
20 years after humans, 100 years.
Yes.
No, they were not very kind, but it was a good show.
Yeah, there was a lot of like the Washington Monument. They were like, and then that aluminum top will fall down. But like they went out of their way to talk about those things. Like, oh, that was like worth a lot of money back in the day. It was really hard to make aluminum like into stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's nice. But yeah, they tore them up.
Yeah, this was like a super good conversation, a lot of interesting topics. Ahoy is going to be a great game, and I appreciate you having me out for the talk.
Anytime, Toast. And I want to mention to everybody who's listening, Aside of Toast, she has her own channels. I'm going to put in the pinned comment below a lot of her information as well as in the description. Be sure to check out her content. Is there anything you want to plug right now? I know you're doing a lot of streams lately.
Yeah, streams have been what I've been mostly doing. I do want to get back into ship reviews again. Just gotta find the time to edit them.
That's always the challenge, isn't it? But yeah, they're fantastic.
Streams are easy. You don't have to edit streams.
Yeah, I totally respect that. Yeah. Well, it's been fun. Thank you again, as always, for being awesome and hanging out with me and putting up with the adventures.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you again to Toast for being here. In the description and in the pinned comment are links to her channels, as well as thank you for being here. What I'm finding is I made this content kind of try to come out of my shell a little bit more and, you know, meet like-minded folks. But what I'm finding is I make this content as much for myself as I do for the folks who enjoy it. So thank you to my long-term subscribers for being here. If you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. It means a lot when it comes to the growth of the channel and ability for me to kind of see where to go. And you don't have to. As well as I welcome in comments, or if you want to reach out privately in Discord or something like that, or on Reddit, or different places, there's various ones, about topics you'd like to have us discuss, or if you want me to cover just in normal videos. That's all fair game. Take care, and thank you for giving this video a shot in this experimental format. And Toast, you're awesome, and stay